It's Sunday, November 8th. We're headed back over. It's awfully warm, man. It's been real warm the last 2 weeks. You can't argue with this time of the year, so we gotta get in the tree. A lot of big bucks are still hitting the ground. They care a little bit about that weather, about the temp, but Doe smells right. She's she's in trouble anyways. It doesn't matter, so we're gonna give her hell and see what we can do. I'm going over here for a solid 4 days. My son's birthday on Friday, so I gotta get back for that. But we'll be in the tree Monday through Thursday. Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be much cooler. So we're looking at like a 30 degree or 20 degree drop to Tuesday. I'm hoping they're still going to be moving and they're not going to be locked down at that point. Trail cameras and the dripper bags have been soaking for the last 2 weeks or so, 2.5 weeks. So get in there, check those, see what's moving through, and give her hell, man. Can't wait to get back in the saddle. Been itching, so I had to move the vacation back a little bit because of that warm spell. I was going to come over last week, but with it being in the 70s that whole time, I was like, I'll wait. This is I've never actually hunted this week of November. It's always been that first week, coming over on like the 5th or 6th. So I'm only a few days later than normal, but I figured with that weather coming, it'll be worth the wait. So fingers crossed, give her hell. That's all you can do. We'll check back in with you later. It's Thursday, November 12th. Yesterday was quite a action-packed day. Just a lot of small deer though. Must have seen 20 deer, I think. 4 different bucks, little ones, from spikes and forks to a 2-year-old. He came in pushing 4 doe. They ran around me probably for a half hour. They went up into a thicket up there by the barn, and I had deer all over me, kind of all morning in there. So it was a good sit. I had enough deer, that's for sure. Just no shooters at all. I don't know where they're at. They're in there. I just need to catch one that's kind of in between does, I think. I don't know. We'll see if it pays off. All right, we'll catch you in the tree. It's just cracking light now. Well, it's been light for about a half hour, but I got in here real nice and early. I got to the base of my tree and I heard a deer bound off. So I waited for a little bit and then I climbed the tree, got on stand. I was putting my stuff away, getting the camera out and everything, and it starts blowing at me. I ran up into the bedding up here. I don't know what it was. It was pitch black out, but really hope it wasn't one of those big ones that's Meh. Are you kidding me? I don't know what. I heard him coming. This tree right here, he came perfectly in line with it. I could never see him. And when I first saw him, he's at 35. And he's facing me, so I could hardly move. He walks down here at about 20 yards, quartering away, and I pounded at him. And he ran up in here and stopped. And he stood there for a while, and then he ran off with his tail. Alright, I just climbed down. I'm just gonna walk over here to the point of impact and see if I can find an arrow, anything. I'm gonna have to give him time. He's up in there. But I got deer all over in here this morning. Let's go see what we got. Came down. Yeah, he was on this trail. Oh, I got blood right here. Like this isn't far after the shot either. Look at all of this. It's kind of runny though. But it's spraying good through here. It looks like there's bubbles in it.
my deer now. Oh man, I'm gonna be upset. Because that deer is a brute.
All right, so I got with our neighbor Chris, and he and I are gonna go up and try to track him down before we drive up in here with the four-wheeler and really stir things up. Hopefully get our hands on him. I think the hit was good, looking at the video more, and I mean the sound of it, all the blood that I found with the bubbles. Here comes one right here. Big buck, big buck. He's a stud.
Oh, that's wide.
It's probably the 9. All right, so we're at first blood here, and it's looking good right away. I mean, there's blood the entire way. It's like it doesn't even, the blood doesn't stop. Like it's a constant trail. Hair all over the arrow. Be right?
I promise you. Way too much blood.
That's what I thought.
Look at that.
Yeah. Another meat missile.
It's a bedding area. Beautiful. He laid down right there. Look at all this. He's got to be right here.
Look at it.
A lot of blood.
Bumping him.
Let's okay.
It's getting sparse now.
That's okay. He bled a lot.
He's still going.
I know it. Not far.
How the hell is he still going?
I don't know. He laid down again. Yeah. There's a bunch of blood right there.
It's super thick in this bowl. It's all briars. I can't believe he's on his feet.
I know.
What is that? That's tissue. Is that heart? That's not meat, is it? It's too dark to be meat. Is that a blood clot? go this far. Now I'm not so... I mean, how far have we tracked him? 200.
150, yeah.
I don't know where he goes from there.
Well, we'll use that as a point of reference.
This is starting to feel like a bad flesh wound or something. But there's no way.
No.
You gotta be kidding me, man. He's headed for cover. What's that? But it's getting sparse now. It's getting way lighter. So much. I don't understand. Like he's wandering. You know.
Yeah.
Bubbles right away.
I think he's dead. I think he's right in here somewhere.
There's a pile. More of it. What is that?
I wonder if that's clot. If that's a big clot or something.
Well, it's good that he got bumped then, because this isn't feeling good. I hope nobody's in it.
Yeah. I can't believe this.
It wasn't a fatal hit. I can't believe that.
Too far forward, maybe. But you had bubbles, so.
Yeah. For 100 yards, there were bubbles.
Well, let's keep looking in here.
I've never not found a deer with a bow. And then you have that big 9-point up by me.
Is this the last blood that we found? Let's put something here and let's just a little bit.
All right, guys, I just wanted to give a brief rundown, kind of a hunt recap, because there were some things that I couldn't capture on film. We ran out of battery. For starters, when I got out of the truck that morning, I looked up in the sky and there were no clouds. It was perfectly clear. Could see all the stars. And before I ever get into a hunt, I'll take a minute to talk to my dad and tell him I love him, I miss him, and wish that he was there with me. I asked him if he could send me one buck. There was a big 8-pointer that I had in there on camera with a sticker off his right side, his right brow. And I asked him to send me that one because he looked like he was one of the older ones in there. I got done talking to him and a shooting star went by, and I couldn't believe it. And it sent this wave of energy kind of thing through me. I don't even know how to describe it, but I knew I had to get in the tree. Light starts to break, and you guys see it in the video. I start doing an interview, and he ends up walking in, and I get a shot on him. You guys have seen all that, but let's fast forward to the track and where we left off in that video. We run out of battery. About the same time, we kind of lose blood. In that video, I'm picking up those, they look like meat or flesh, but they're actually blood clots now that I did some research on it. I've never had experience with a blood clot before, so I didn't know what they were. I called my good friend Kevin, and I talked to him about it, and he's like, it sounds like you single-lunged him, and he's clotting up, and he's dropping these clots. And every time I would find a clot, the blood would then obviously pick up, and it was like cupfuls of blood. And I couldn't figure out how this deer is still on his feet because he's bleeding really bad and he's gone a long ways. And so Kevin's like, on a single lung, you really want to keep pushing them so they don't have time to clot up, and then you jump them and then you have no blood to go off of. He's like, you really got to just keep going after this deer and don't be afraid to pick the pace up. And I was like, all right, no problem. And I'm picking up the pace, and Chris is with me, and Chris is like 60 or 61 years old, and he and I had never hunted before together. He's a landowner right there next to us, the property that I'm on, and he told me if I ever shoot one to get a hold of him, he'd love to track it with me. I'm up here by myself. I'd love to have some company. It's always better with somebody with you and share that experience with, I guess. So he and I are together for the first time on this, and we tracked this deer across 3 different properties. We finally meet up with him about 9/10 of a mile now from where I shot him. I come up on this logging road. I can see the clearing in the trees up above. I glance up and I can see the tips of his antlers. He's kind of facing me a little bit, but he's like perpendicular to me. He's looking at the ridge, and I'm coming up from below him. And I turn around to Chris and I'm like, Chris, get down, he's right here. Chris gets down, I'm down. I turn and look back at the buck, and he gets up and he starts running down the logging road. I take off on a sprint up this hill, and I get to the top of the logging road. Chris shortly behind me, for the first time really getting a good look at this deer and what kind of shape he's in, and he's going down the road like he's drunk. His left front leg shoulder is broken, and he's stepping all over the place. Like, he's not in line. I know he's really hurt. He's really sick at this point. I get down, Chris gets down with me. We watch him. He runs down to the end of this logging road about 200 yards away from us, and he beds down again on the right side of the road. And I look at Chris, I'm like, I don't know exactly what to do here. And then I started thinking back to what Kevin said, and if that clot forms and that deer gets energy or gets bumped again and takes off, I'm not gonna have any blood to go on, and I'm gonna lose this deer. And I just really started to feel like I needed to get another arrow in this deer. So I look at Chris and I said, Chris, I'm gonna take the boots off and I'm gonna stalk down this road, and I'm gonna sneak up on him and try to get another arrow. I take my pack off, I take my boots off, and he's like, I hate for you to get, halfway down the road, and he gets up and runs off. And I said, well, then we're just back to where we were, and then we're tracking him again. So let's just try it. Kick the boots off, my backpack, and I got my binos on me still, so I'm keeping an eye on the deer the whole time I'm doing this. And I can see that he's got his mouth open, and he's breathing real heavy, he's panting, and there's no blood coming out of his mouth though. So that's what's telling me it's not a lung hit. The air's got to be coming from his esophagus, his trachea, something like that, and the blood source is just the arteries around the heart. So I think that's how we're getting all the bubbles along the way here. I nicked his windpipe or the sac that the lungs are in. There's a tree about 20 yards this side of the buck, and I'm about 150 yards up this logging road when I start the stalk. Just working my way real slow. Buck has got his butt towards me and his head is away from me, but he's looking perpendicular to me up the ridge, and there's a doe that's coming down. This doe kind of has his attention. I can see him on the binos, and his head's starting to sway. It's starting to go down, but then he'll pick it back up, and then he looks up the road at me periodically, and I'll stop. Meanwhile, Chris is back at the top of the road in a black sweatshirt and blue jeans. And I'm wondering if the buck didn't see Chris, and because Chris wasn't moving any closer, the buck didn't feel threatened. But he didn't see me. I was in full camo, and I don't think he ever knew I was even there. That tree that was just before the buck, I tried to keep that tree right on his eyeball to block his view from me as much as I could, because it was a logging road. There was nothing else there to hide me, really. Well, I did this from about 150 out, and I got to about 50 yards, and I'm thinking like, okay, let's get to 40 and see what it's like. I get in about 10 more yards, and I'm thinking I need to get an arrow in him. But this hind quarter shot is not ideal, but I know I need to get an arrow in him. And I'm thinking, let's try to get to 30 and send one in there. And maybe I can get it just above his ham, and it'll sink in behind that last rib and drive right up into his chest. I get to a spot, I draw, I let it fly, and it hit him right in the ham. And that deer jumped probably 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and he let out this big, like, gargly roar. It was like, and he fell right back down in his bed, but now he's perfectly broadside in the road. And I knock another arrow, put the 30 pin on him, and I let it eat, and it went right in his heart. He was down, he was done. He rolled around for a little bit, and then he expired. And I turned around, and I look at Chris at the other end of the logging road, and I just threw my hands in the air and my bow in the air, and I just started walking back towards Chris. And Chris puts his hands up like, what the hell was that? And the smile on my face and the feeling that came over me, it was really emotional for me, because I really started thinking about my dad right away, and how I had talked to him that morning and asked him to send me a buck. This one, and it was the first buck I saw of the day, and it was the only buck. It wasn't the only buck. I did end up having that big 9-pointer come in 2 hours after I shot this one. He was a great deer too, but obviously I can only shoot one. I'm so thankful it all worked out. To be able to experience that with someone else, it helps drive it home, I think, to a different level, and to see their excitement, you know, from being able to watch it and experience it themselves. The whole experience altogether is just so much better. So I really wanted to bring that element of the story in, because it was very exciting, and it was how the hunt unfolded. And I know that because I didn't get it on film, I wanted to be able to at least share it verbally. It was one heck of a crazy turn of events. And I never thought I'd be able to stalk in on him like that. But with him being really on his last leg like that, and being as sick as he was, it worked out, and I'm glad it did, because it really started to bother me knowing that this deer was suffering for a while. And I'm just glad we got to get in there and finish the job. So yeah, persistence paid off. You know, I think a lot of people, myself included, would have backed out. I definitely would have backed out if we would have lost blood. But because we had so much blood the whole way, it's like, how do you just back out and leave because you keep bumping him? And I know it goes against every rule you're taught. If you bump a deer, back out. But I don't know. I don't know if I really agree with it. Maybe in certain circumstances, if the shot is different. But in this case, I had to keep going. We ran him out of blood. We ran him to the point where he was going to pass out from blood loss. And then it was just whether or not he would have woken up from it. So just a crazy hunt, crazy day, the most memorable day of my hunting career, for sure, as far as deer are concerned, and as far as a hunt and a track go. It was just amazing. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And good luck to everyone else out there if you guys are still putting in that grind and that work. We got rifle season coming up next weekend, so hopefully we can get on another one and share some more memories. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.